We'll go through a simple Condor submission with the login node here. Just as a show of hands, how many people here have used Condor before? So quite a few. Okay, so this should go pretty smoothly. All right, so you should be logged into this guy. So we kind of give you two routes to do this. You can either type the tutorial command, and it will show you a list of all the available tutorials. And if you'd like, you can just say tutorial QuickStart, and it'll copy that into a directory for you. And it actually already has all the files, so you don't even need to make them yourself. You just have to, do the Condor submit, things like that. But I will live a little dangerously and get this work. And I'm just going to make these files as we go along. Okay, so you should be logged in. Either have the tutorial directory made for you, or you can make it yourself. So once you're there, we're going to start just with a simple, short shell script that'll be our job. And so all you need to do is copy and paste this into a file. You can use whatever editor you like. I'll just use Nano. And we copy and paste it in there. And then if you hold down Control and hit X, it'll ask you if you want to save. Hit yes. Tell it the file name you want to write out. I want to call this short.sh. This is all sort of just standard Unix stuff, right? We need to make this executable. And we'll run it. And it'll tell us some stuff about the node we're working on. So it shows us we're running on login 01. It tells us some information about the user and where the job is running. And then it'll sleep for 15 seconds and give us a nice output. Science complete. If only it was that easy. So that pretty much covers running locally. This is pretty much what you're used to, right? So if we want to make a Condor submit file, what does that look like? If we want to get this job to run somewhere out there on the grid. So we're going to make this file tutorial 01, or you can call it whatever you like. And again, I'm just going to copy and paste this right out of the tutorial. So there's a couple bits here. The universe just defines an execution environment for our job. Most of the time, you'll almost always want to know it. We give it the name of the executable that we want to run. And we give it some other stuff here. Error says what the standard error from the job is, and output is the standard out from the job. And we give it a log file, which we'll just call job.log, which is just some extra information that Condor gathers. Another important thing to note here is the project name. So any job that goes through OSG Connect needs to have a project name associated with it. So for this, we're just using con-tutorial. And if you come into this and we get a project set up for you, you'll set that project name for whatever your project is.
Lincoln.
Yes.
Contrain.
Is it wrong?
Yep.
Oops. So it's wrong in the here. Sorry.
Yeah, you can show the error with the tutorial. So if you actually type, the tutorial page is telling you, if you type the command OSG show project, will list all the projects.
a job sitting here in the idle state. This little I here, for those of you unfamiliar with them. Let's see how many jobs there are. We got a bunch of jobs. They're all waiting to start. Are they all running now? I think it's, oh, look at that. So now all of our jobs are running. Cool. So yeah, you can use __Q to look at the jobs. You can also give it the ID number or your username just to see specific subsets of jobs. You can, I don't know if you guys know about this, but you can also use the watch command. And watch just runs a command over and over again and clears the buffer. So you get this nice little real-time update of the jobs that are running and not running, etc. So we can kind of see the jobs come in and are running and finishing and all of that. So you can also get a history of your job. I don't remember my job number, but I guess I see it over there. So if I do Condor history, it'll show me that my job ran. It's in state C, which is complete. You can ask Condor for some additional information with the -1 flag. And then it'll tell us a whole bunch of stuff. And then you can use sort of normal Unixy methods to grep out the stuff you want. For example, you might want some opens, go to machine, something like that. Probably here. Anyway. So that was pretty easy, right? So if we want to submit multiple jobs, we want to do concurrent jobs. We just make a couple of changes in this case, since our job script is nice and pleasingly parallel. We're going to add some things onto error output and log. There's these Condor macros cluster and process. So cluster is just the batch of jobs that you submit, and the process is an individual job within. So we append these to our output log error file, so we get one for each job. And again, we have the project name, which is wrong in the documentation, because I did a find replace.
Actually, do refresh the documentation and we'll be right.
Oh, how about that? It's like magic. How about that? All right, so I'm going to copy pasta this into tutorial 02. And it also mentions that our files are in a directory called log. So that directory needs to be created if it isn't already. So now we have log. If you try to submit without that directory, Condor will fail spectacularly. See, I have my job sitting here in IC. We got a bunch of jobs in the queue. I'll just leave it here in IC. There they go. They're all running nice and parallel. Anybody having any trouble thus far? Any questions thus far?
So for that display, can you tell what the cluster or the process ID of the job is?
Oh yeah. Nope, you can't.
Yeah. You can try with the other users and dash grid.
Right. So the cluster ID is this first one here, and the process ID is the second.
The job. But you can actually see more about the jobs if you do Condor Q dash.
You can do Condor Q dash 1. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, grid.
Dash what? Grid. I didn't know that.
Sorry.
Dash run. Dash run.
Run.
Ah, how about that? That even says where they're running. So it looks like most of these are running on EC2. Pretty cool, right?
Who's CRC 34? You need to change one your executable.
I need to what?
Change one your executable.
Okay.
You missed one step.
Okay.
Did you say that
Okay.
under Q that's
I'll move on to job search. So, you know, a lot of the time you may have an argument you want to pass to your executable. So this is really trivial. We just say arguments equals 5 in this case because we want our job to sleep for 5 seconds. And if you go and you look at the short.sh, you'll see that it actually does take an optional parameter. So we want to run that. Make tutorial 03. And I said I was going to do this in Nano, but I went back to using Gen.
As you should.
So I'll do Control Submit. Okay. Lots of jobs running. So my jobs are running now. They'll hopefully run for not much longer than 5 seconds. There we go. So now I guess we can talk about some counter history action. We have this really cool little tool called distribution, and it just does some binning and makes a little ASCII histogram for you, so you can actually see where your jobs ran. And I'm pretty much just going to copy and paste this command directly and change the cluster ID to what mine was. So this thing basically just does a condor history, looks for the remote host where the job ran, and then runs the cut command on it to isolate the host name out. I did it wrong? Because I want the cluster, not the cluster in the process. So we see that 8 of my jobs ran on one of the EC2 hosts and 2 of my jobs ran on another host. So in the tutorial there, I ran it for quite a while and played with the options for a bit. And most of my jobs ran at the Midwest Tier 2, which is an Atlas data center, and the University of Chicago campus. But we also see that they ran some other places too, like the Holland Computing Center at Nebraska, so UCSC. And there's plenty more.